going to talk about the value of ABVP board certification. That's American Board of Veterinary Practitioners. So I have a little case to present, and then I'm just going to talk a little bit. I'm assuming some of you are here because maybe you're considering some continuing education, where to go after the DVM. So this is a recent case study, actually very recent. Just a little bit of history. We had a group of 780 finishing hogs weighing an average of 230 pounds, and they developed diarrhea over the weekend, of course, because in practice that's how it always goes. Things happen on holidays and weekends. And it progressed to explosive watery diarrhea by Monday, so of course we were thinking, oh my gosh, here we go, it's fall, and now we got some PED coming. On the same site, the producer had a group of 800 nursery pigs and about 789 early finisher pigs, and they had no clinical signs, so now we're thinking, maybe not PED. And the diarrhea did coincide with new feed delivery, but those of you that know that I'm married to a nutritionist, and so of course my first thought is always blame the nutritionist. And so we looked at that, and there had been no nursery pigs delivered and no slaughter trucks on the site for more than 3 weeks. As luck would have it, on Monday, Steve is out of town, and Megan and I are at a boar stud, so nobody can get to the farm. And the decision was made Monday to auger out the feed, bring in a new feed delivery. And the vet was scheduled, we were scheduled in on Tuesday to take some diagnostic samples. So we have to do, unfortunately, what we don't like to do, which is diagnostic rule-outs over the phone. So we're thinking PED, TGE, ileitis, dysentery, salmonellosis, maybe a toxin, we don't know. So on Tuesday, actually, the diarrhea was a little bit better. The other barns with the younger pigs remained non-clinical. So the site was thought to be PERS negative, mycoplasma positive, and they had a recent bout with SIV, H1N2, that we knew came in from the sow farm. So the veterinarian was met on site by the owner and 2 representatives from the local feed company that was supplying the feed to these pigs. So on inspection, the younger pigs were completely normal. Of course, we looked at them first for biosecurity reasons. But the heavy finishers had varying degrees of diarrhea, from squirting water, painting the walls, to about cow pie consistency. The most curious thing, however, was there were some skin lesions. And it's a little bit dark, but you can see there's a lot of necrotic skin here, and then we had some that just had necrotic skin trickling down from the anus of the pigs. So I thought, well, that's kind of curious. So we did some postmortems. We did 2 heavy finishers that were clinical and not recovering well. Gross observations, we had normal lungs, some old mycoplasma lesions in pig number 2, watery diarrhea but normal-looking mucosal linings grossly, no gross evidence of ileitis, dysentery, or salmonellosis. There were some enlarged inguinal lymph nodes, so now we're thinking, okay, well, maybe PCV, PDNS. And the skin was scalded, kind of like a 3rd-degree burn. It seemed to be where there was direct contact with the fecal material. No other gross lesions were noted. So, of course, we submitted directly to the diagnostic lab. PCR results were negative for PERS, SIV, PED, TGE, Lawsonia, all negative. Bacterial culture, no significant findings. Histopathology said lymphoplasmacytic, eosinophilic, and ulcerative enterocolitis. And the haired skin samples that we sent had epidermal necrosis with neutrophilic crusts. So we were thinking, okay, now what? So I'm going to make you wait a little bit, because we're going to talk about ABVP certification. What is ABVP certification? Because Jeremy asked me to talk about that a little bit. And that's the American Board of Veterinary Practitioners, and their goal is to advance quality of veterinary medicine through certification. And so one who meets their qualifications is then referred to as a diplomat of ABVP in their respective field. So how do you do that? Anybody that's considering that, you do have to sit for a written entrance exam, which is usually given coinciding with the AASV annual meeting. And then once you pass that exam, you set a committee and you meet with your committee and set forth a program for continuing education learning that is tailored to you. And once you've done that, which is a process for at least 1 or up to 3, and so in my case, close to 3 years. And then you sit for a final exam, which is a 3-day process, which consists of a written exam, an oral exam, and several, seemed like an eternity, hours of essay, right, Jeremy? And then one of the things that's a little bit unique about this program is, unlike some of the other programs, once you're done, you get the certificate, you're done. That's not true in the ABVP because they do have a recertification process. Every 10 years you have to go through that, and you can do that several different ways. You can, they have kind of a points system, so you can accumulate points by reviewing papers, writing test questions, publications. I forgot to put that one on there because you can get quite a few points for actual peer-reviewed publications. Or if you don't like any of that, you can just resit for the exam, but I don't know if there's any ABVP. I don't think anybody does that. You'd rather do the other things because resitting for that exam is torture. Why did I choose ABVP? Because it is available to practicing veterinarians without the need to pursue a formal residency. So just at the time in my life, that was a better choice for me. I didn't have access to get out of university. I looked at the EVP program. I think it's an excellent program, but at that point in my life, I didn't have time to go to Illinois for 2-week stints. So purpose is to improve your knowledge base by demonstrating specialist level skills and knowledge. And there are currently 11 recognized specialties, of which swine health management is one of them. So again, why did I choose that? It seems like a whole lot of work to get this one little piece of paper to hang on your wall. And of course, my kids said, "Mom, you did all that work just for that piece of paper." And my clients said, "Doc, how many letters do you actually need behind your name?" So this is why you do it, and I think this is why a lot of us have done extra education beyond the DVM. And this is my interpretation of the learning curve. And because I think in high school you think you don't have to learn anything because you already know it all, and then you figure out that you don't, and you start learning. And you learn a lot in vet school, but actually the steepest part of the learning curve is that first year you're out in practice, because you realize even though you passed all your classes in veterinary school, you still don't know anything. But then after that, you start seeing the same cases, and then your learning curve starts to go the other way. So for me, that was the main reason. What you might think about ABVP is you might think that you do it because then you can make a whole lot more money. And I don't know, Steve, you never paid me any extra. My clients think that maybe I'm just doing that because I'm going to charge them a whole lot more, and of course that wasn't true either. My parents didn't really care. They said, "You already got a BS and a DVM and now a diplomat of ABVP, and all I want you to do is bring the grandkids home PDQ." So the reality is really not any additional salary when you're in private practice. My clients really respect the effort, but they don't really care about the letters behind my name. They just want me to know what's going on so I can tell them what to do. And my family just wants my time. So the reality is I do it because it keeps the learning curve from going flat, gives you new incentive, really helps you build your networks. You get to meet a lot of people, work with a lot of people that maybe you wouldn't have opportunity otherwise. Earns the respect of your colleagues, and I think it does open some doors for you. Because the reality is board certification does carry some clout. It might not matter to your clients, But when you're asked to serve on committees, boards, panels, or maybe even an expert witness, that board certification does carry some weight. So there are lots of current issues besides disease that can use your help. You know, there's always the animal rights versus animal welfare war, the antibiotic use, GMOs, science versus public opinion, all of those things. And if you want to get involved in any of those through any kind of committee or board, I think that the board certification helps you get your foot in that door. So for me, the bottom line, would I recommend ABVP? Yes. Is it easy? No. Would I do it again? Yes, probably. And would I recommend it over other forms of advanced degrees? Not necessarily, because I think they all really have their merits. I think, you know, I looked at the EVP program. I think it's really excellent. I wasn't about to go back for a PhD because that wasn't, just wasn't a good option for me. So it allowed me to continue working as a practitioner and still get the education. So back to my case study, because I'm sure you're all dying to know. Further investigation into the feed revealed that a manufacturing error had occurred, and much to my husband's chagrin. A significant amount of magnesium sulfate has accidentally been added to the ration, and so this would be the equivalent of overdosing them on Epsom salt, which of course is a known cure for constipation in sows and other species. So as that case is still unfolding, actually, because we're trying to get the pigs finished to market so we can have the closeout information, because of course the feed mill knows that they're responsible for the error, so we have to compare to other closeouts and figure out what the mortality loss was, and then what the gain loss was on those pigs, because they're in a fixed time system, so they're probably going to end up having to market them at a lighter weight, and of course that all is going to have some kind of price tag attached to it. So I can't tell you what the dollar was per pig because the pigs are still finishing out. So